So picture the classic fantasy hero. You know the type.
Oh, I know the type.
Jawline you could cut glass with, shining armor that somehow never gets dirty, riding a white horse to save a damsel who is, of course, immensely grateful.
Right.
It's comforting, it's clean. It's what we grew up on.
It is the archetype.
Yeah?
The knight in shining armor. And it is completely, utterly detached from the reality we're diving into today.
Exactly. Because today, we are cracking open The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, the first thing that hits you isn't the smell of roses or the sound of trumpets.
No, not at all.
It's the smell of sour beer, garlic, and old sweat. We are entering a world that is gritty, cynical, and just biologically fascinating.
It is a world where the hero isn't a chosen one. He's a tradesman.
Yeah.
He's a pest controller.
A pest controller who happens to be a mutant. Today, we are doing a deep dive into the origin stories of Geralt of Rivia. We are stripping away the Netflix series. We are ignoring the video games for a moment.
Which are great, but...
They're great, but we are looking strictly at the text. The short stories, The Witcher, A Grade of Truth, The Lesser Evil, A Question of Price, and the framing narrative, which is the voice of reason.
And the mission here is really specific. We aren't just retelling cool fights. We want to understand the biology of this world, how the mutations work, how the monsters function physiologically, and the philosophy.
Right.
Because Sapkowski is doing something brilliant here. He is taking the Brothers Grimm, throwing them into a blender with a noir detective novel, and asking, what is the morality of killing?
That is the core question. What actually makes a monster? Is it having fangs and claws? Or is it something deeper?
So let's get right into the mud. The first story is simply titled The Witcher. And our introduction to Geralt sets the tone perfectly. He walks into a tavern in Wyzim.
The tavern is called the Fox,
Oh, okay.
and right away the text establishes that Geralt is a pariah. In a normal fantasy, the stranger in the cloak is mysterious and cool. Here, he is hated on sight. It's so immediate, isn't it? The innkeeper doesn't want to serve him.
Right.
And then you have these locals. The text describes a pockmarked beanpole of a man who just decided to mess with him for no reason.
It feels like pure xenophobia. They see the white hair, the pale skin, the sword on his back, and they just see threat.
Yeah.
They call him a Rivian vagabond. They assume he's a thief or a sorcerer. And look at Geralt's reaction. This is so key to his character. He doesn't puff out his chest.
No, he tries to shrink.
He says, I'll finish my beer. He is actively trying to de-escalate. He is trying to be invisible.
But they don't let him. They attack. And this is where we get our first glimpse of what a Witcher actually is biologically. It's not that he's just a good fighter. It's that he moves faster than a human being should be able to move.
The text describes it as a blur. The outsider curled up on the spot, the sword hissed in its sheath. It's instantaneous.
So fast.
3 men are dead before the rest of the room has even processed that a fight has started. It's just mechanical efficiency.
And the reaction of the room isn't applause. It's not like, oh, the hero saved us from these ruffians.
Not at all. The innkeeper is vomiting.
Yeah. And the patrons are either screaming or just paralyzed with fear. He hasn't saved anyone. He's just unleashed this horrifying violence.
Which leads to him being dragged, escorted by the guards to the local authority, the Castellan Velerad. And this is where the pest control aspect you mentioned comes in.
Right. He wasn't there to start a bar fight.
He didn't come to town to kill drunks. He came for a contract.
The striga.
The striga.
Yeah.
And the backstory here is just, it's a mess. It's a political and biological mess.
It's basically a soap opera with teeth. So you have King Foltest, and Velerad, the Castellan, explains that Foltest had an affair.
An incestuous affair.
With his own sister, Ada. Yes.
Which Velerad is clearly disgusted by, and frankly, the text implies that this incest is the very root of the curse.
It has to be, right?
It seems so. Ada died in childbirth. The baby died, or seemed to die. They buried them both in a sarcophagus in the family crypt. And then 7 years later...
the baby comes back. But not as a baby. Velerad's description is absolute nightmare fuel.
It really is.
He says she is 4 cubits high, shaped like a barrel of beer, has a maw which stretches from ear to ear, and is full of dagger-like teeth.
And she moves with incredible speed. She's been terrorizing the town, pulling people out of their houses and eating them for years. But here is the complication. Usually you hire a hero to kill the beast. King Foltest forbids anyone from killing her.
He wants the curse lifted. He actually believes he can get his daughter back.
Which everyone else thinks is delusional. Velerad thinks it's insane. The other nobles think it's dangerous. But this is where the politics come in. There is this character, Ostrit. He's a magnate, a high-ranking official, and he actually tries to bribe Geralt.
Yeah, he offers Geralt 1,000 orens to just leave, to pretend he tried and failed, and just let the monster keep eating people.
Because as long as the striga is terrorizing the populace, King Foltest looks weak. Ostrit is using a man-eating monster as a political tool to destabilize the government.
That's the first big hint that the humans might be worse than the monsters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ostrit is willing to let peasants die just to get a leg up in court.
Precisely. Ostrit is cynical, cruel, and selfish. The striga. She's just a predator. She kills because she's hungry. Ostrit kills by proxy for power.
It's a whole different level of evil.
A calculated evil.
So Geralt takes the job. He ignores the bribe. And this brings us to the scene that I think defines the deep dive mission today, the preparation.
Yes.
This isn't a knight praying to a god for strength. This is straight up chemistry.
It is toxicology. Geralt goes to the old palace, locks himself in, and opens his kit. The text lists the specific ingredients he uses. Veratrum, stramonium, hawthorn, and spurge.
Now look these up. Veratrum and stramonium.
Yeah.
Those are real plants. Stramonium is datura, right? Jimson weeds.
Yes. In the real world, these are highly toxic alkaloids. They cause hallucinations, tachycardia, delirium, and, well, death. For a normal human, the cocktail Geralt mixes would stop your heart in minutes.
But for him, because of the mutations from the Trial of the Grasses.
For a witcher, it's a combat stimulant. He drinks it to alter his own physiology. The text describes the shift vividly. His face turns the color of chalk. His pupils dilate until they fill the entire iris.
Giving him perfect night vision. It's like he's doping, he's weaponizing his own biology.
He is suppressing his humanity, his pain response, his fear, his autonomic limits to match the monster's capabilities. He essentially has to become a monster to fight one. It's a tactical chemical decision, not a magical one.
And he needs it. Because when the fight starts, the striga is terrifying. She's stronger than him. She's faster.
The fight scene is described as a dance on the edge of an abyss. Geralt can't just overpower her. He uses a silver. Silver is, fatal to magical monsters to bind her, but she just snaps it.
Right, and then he uses the sign of the heart, which is this sort of telekinetic thrust of energy to knock her back.
But she shakes it off. She's the tank.
So he realizes physical force alone won't work. You have to use psychology.
This is a fascinating detail. He realizes the striga is driven by pure, concentrated hatred and instinct. So Geralt projects his own murderous frenzy back at her.
Wait, how does that work? Is he shouting at her? Is it like a telepathic thing?
No, it's focus. The text implies it's an act of will. He mirrors her resonance, he takes that killing intent and beams it right back. It creates a feedback loop that confuses and terrifies her. She's never felt something hate her back with that level of intensity.
It's psychic warfare. He's weaponizing his own will.
Exactly. And the cure isn't a kiss, it isn't a magic spell, it's just endurance.
He has to stop her from getting back into her sarcophagus before the rooster crows 3 times. He has to keep her out until dawn.
Which he does. He fights her all night. He uses Ostrit, who he knocked out and tied up as bait at one point.
Oh, right. He ties Ostrit to the sarcophagus.
He does. And the striga just tears him to pieces. But it's a necessary distraction. Geralt finally locks her out. The sun comes up, the monster vanishes, and in its place is a 14-year-old girl. Naked, trembling, skinny.
And this is the moment that gets me. Geralt is exhausted. He's coming down from his potion high. He sees this little girl. He checks her teeth. They're normal human teeth. He thinks he's safe.
And he lets his guard down for 1 second.
1 second. And she slashes his throat.
Her eyes, the text says her eyes were still the eyes of the monster for just that split second. The instinct was still there.
It is such a subversion. You expect the thank you, brave hero. Instead, you get a jugular wound.
Geralt has to physically bite her neck to subdue her while holding his own bleeding throat shut. It's messy, it's bloody, and it's completely devoid of glamour. He saved the princess, and she nearly killed him.
And he ends up recovering in the Temple of Melitele, which frames the whole book. But before we get to his recovery, we have to talk about the next story. Because if The Witcher was about physical horror, this next one is about emotional horror. A grain of truth.
This is a beautiful story. It starts with such a shift in atmosphere. We leave the city and go deep into a forest, and suddenly things feel weirdly fairy tale-ish.
It feels like Disney at first. Geralt finds this secluded, magical manor. The gate just opens by itself. There's no one around.
It is a direct subversion of Beauty and the Beast. You have the isolated castle, the magic that conjures food and clothes, and, of course, the beast.
Nivellen.
Nivellen explodes onto the scene. He charges out, roaring, waving his arms. He has a bear's head, boar tusks. He's huge. He's trying so hard to be terrifying.
But Geralt just stands there. He doesn't draw his sword. He just looks at him.
Yeah.
And the moment Nivellen realizes Geralt isn't scared, the act drops completely.
It's hilarious. Nivellen basically says, oh, well, didn't work. Do you want some dinner?
Yeah. He turns out to be incredibly human. He's chatty. He's a bit of a glutton. He's insecure.
He's a bro. He just wants someone to talk to, but his backstory, that is dark. He wasn't a noble prince who was rude to an old lady.
No, not even close.
No, he was a bandit leader, a thug. He and his gang robbed a temple. And Nivellen, he raped a young priestess.
That is a hard pivot from the Disney version. It's brutal.
It is. And the priestess, before she killed herself, cursed him. She spat in his face and said, you are a monster in a human skin, so you shall be a monster in a monster's skin.
It's poetic justice, really. The outside now matches the inside from back then.
Exactly. But here's the interesting thing. Nivellen has changed. He's been in this beast form for 12 years. He's been isolated. He's had a lot of time to reflect on his life. And he tells Geralt about the women who have stayed with him.
The beauty part of the equation. Merchants would leave their daughters with him for a year in exchange for bags of gold.
A kind of dowry. Nivellen hoped that one of them would break the curse. You know, the whole true love's kiss rule.
But none of them did. And he claims he's resigned to it. He says he has the health of a horse, and the girls actually seem to like him.
He tells these stories that make him sound charming in a weird way. But Geralt, being the detective, notices something is off.
The clues are so subtle. Geralt's horse, Roach, is terrified of the place.
And horses in this world have a sixth sense for real supernatural evil.
Right. And Geralt saw things in the forest on his way in. A dead merchant. A woman with a blue rose pinned to her dress.
And bite marks on her neck that definitely weren't from a wolf.
So Geralt realizes there is a predator at the manor. And he suspects Nivellen at first. He tests him. He throws a silver tray at him.
Which is a classic Witcher move.
Nivellen catches it and doesn't burn. So biologically, Nivellen is human. He's cursed. But he's not a monster in the Witcher sense.
So who is the monster?
It's Verena, the girl Nivellen is currently living with. He thinks she's a rusalka, a harmless water nymph. He's in love with her.
He's totally besotted.
But Geralt knows better. He finds her at the fountain. And this reveal gives me chills every time. She's singing, but her lips aren't moving.
It's telepathic. It's alien.
She's a Brixa, a higher vampire. And when she reveals her true form, the contrast is just stark. She goes from this beautiful petite girl to a screeching engine of death.
The fight scene here highlights just how dangerous a Brixa is. She screams, and it's a sonic weapon. It literally shatters Geralt's kin sign, his magical shield. It knocks him down.
It's powerful enough to make his ears bleed.
She transforms into a giant bat. She moves faster than the eye can follow. Geralt is completely outmatched here. He's swinging at air. She cuts him. She drains him. She screams, "I will kill you, sorcerer."
She would have killed him too, if not for Nivellen.
This is the tragedy. Nivellen rushes out. He sees the woman he loves trying to kill his guest. He shouts her name. And she turns on him.
But she hesitates.
That hesitation is everything. She loves him too in her own alien, predatory way. And that hesitation allows Nivellen to drive a wooden pole through her chest.
And even then, even while she's impaled on a stake, she doesn't try to claw her. She drags herself down the pole towards him. She wants to be close to him.
She whispers, "Mine. Or nobody's. It's possessive, it's monstrous, but it is, in its own way, love."
And then Geralt cuts her head off.
It's abrupt. It has to be. But the moment she dies, the magic releases. Nivellen transforms back into a human man.
Because there was a grain of truth in the fairy tale. To break the spell, it required true love. But in Sapkowski's world, true love involves blood and sacrifice.
Verena's blood and her genuine love for him broke the curse. But look at the ending. It's not happy. Nivellen is human again, but he's lying in the nettles, sobbing. He's traumatized.
He's lost the only creature who looked past his beastly exterior and actually loved him.
It forces you to ask, was it worth it? He's human, but he's broken. And it blurs the line again. Nivellen, the rapist, showed humanity and regret. Verena, the monster, showed love. Who is the real beast?
Man, that is heavy. But if we want to talk about heavy, we have to talk about the lesser evil.
Oh, this is the one.
This is the story that everyone quotes. This is a story that defines Geralt.
This is the philosophical core of the book. It's where Geralt earns the nickname the Butcher of Blaviken.
So set the scene. Geralt rolls into the town of Blaviken. He's got a dead Kikimora, a swamp monster on his cart. He wants to get paid.
But the alderman doesn't want a swamp monster. He sends Geralt to the local wizard, Master Stregobor.
Now, Stregobor he's a piece of work. He's hiding in a tower. He uses magic to make the inside of the tower look like a beautiful summer garden with naked illusions walking around.
While outside, it's a muddy autumn. Stregobor represents science and order gone horribly wrong. He's terrified. He tells Geralt he's being hunted by a monster, a woman named Renfri.
And his justification for fearing her is the curse of the Black Sun. This is such a cool bit of world building.
It is. Stregobor explains that there was a prophecy. 60 girls of noble blood were born during a specific solar eclipse. The prophecy claimed they were mutants, biologically wired for evil, servants of the goddess Lilith.
He makes it sound very medical, very scientific. He talks about autopsies.
Vivisections, actually. He admits the Council of Wizards hunted these girls down, locked them in towers, and cut them open while they were still alive.
Jesus.
He claims they found mutations, red sponges inside the skull, missing kidneys, 6-chambered hearts, things that mark them as inhuman.
But Geralt, ever the skeptic, asks the key question. He says, did you find these mutations in all of them?
And Stregobor admits no. Some were normal. It suggests that the wizards were basically conducting a purge. Maybe it was superstition. Maybe it was political assassination disguised as prophecy. It's eugenics.
And Renfri is one of the survivors. She's the Snow White figure here, Princess of Creighton.
A very, very dark Snow White. Her stepmother wanted her dead, supposedly because the magic mirror predicted Renfri would kill her, so they sent a huntsman into the forest to kill her.
But Renfri didn't just sing to the birds. She killed the huntsman. Stregobor says she dug a brooch pin into his brain.
Renfri later tells Geralt that the huntsman raped her, and she killed him in self-defense.
And both are probably true.
Most likely. And she didn't live with 7 mining dwarves. She lived with 7 gnomes who were bandits. She became Shrike, a bandit leader known for impaling her victims on stakes.
So she is violent. She is dangerous. There's no question about that.
She is. But is she a monster? Or is she a victim of Stregobor's persecution who learned to survive in the only way she knew how?
That is the dilemma. Stregobor wants Geralt to kill her. He says she's the monster. Killing her is a lesser evil to save the world. It's a utilitarian argument.
And then Renfri climbs into Geralt's room at the inn. She tells her side, and she poses her lesser evil. She wants Geralt to kill Stregobor. She argues the wizard is the true monster.
And this leads to the quote, the one everyone knows. Geralt says, evil is evil, lesser, greater, middling, it's all the same.
Proportions are negotiated, boundaries blurred. I'm not a pious hermit. I haven't done only good in my life. But if I'm to choose between one evil and another, I prefer not to choose at all.
It's his mission statement. He wants to be neutral. He wants to opt out of the trolley problem. He tells Renfri to leave town. He thinks he's diffused the situation.
But he's wrong, because Renfri has an ace up her sleeve. The Tridam ultimatum.
This is the turning point. Geralt learns about a past event where bandits took a ferry boat full of pilgrims hostage. They killed them one by one until the Baron released their leader from prison.
It's terrorism.
It's straight-up terrorism. Yeah. And Renfri plans to do the same thing in Blaviken.
She's going to take the market square hostage on market day when it's full of people and slaughter the townsfolk until Stregobor comes out of his tower.
But Geralt knows Stregobor. The wizard is a coward and a narcissist. He explicitly told Geralt, let her slaughter the whole town and the neighboring villages. I am not coming down.
He'd let them all die to save his own skin.
So Geralt realizes the math. If he stays neutral, if he doesn't choose, innocent people die. Renfri will start killing, Stregobor will stay in his tower, and it will be a massacre.
The only way to save the town is to preemptively kill Renfri and her gang. He is forced to choose the lesser evil.
So he goes to the market. And this fight, this is the macabre ballet.
It is described with such cold precision. Geralt walks into the square. The gang is there. Sivril, Nohorn, the twins. They are professional killers. They think they can take him.
They shoot a crossbow at him, and he deflects the bolt with his sword while running.
It's just unbelievable. And then he dissects them. It's not a fight. It's an anatomical dismantling. He severs tendons. He cuts arteries. He moves so fast they can't track him. He kills 6 men in seconds.
And then Renfri arrives. She sees her men dead. And Geralt, he pleads with her. He says, get out of here, Renfri. He really, really doesn't want to kill her.
And she says, I can't.
What do you think she meant by that? I can't.
It's the tragedy of her character. Does she mean she biologically can't stop because of the curse? Or does she mean she psychologically can't back down because she's been fighting for survival her whole life?
She's trapped.
She's trapped in her own path of vengeance. She can't see another way out.
She attacks him. And she's good. She pushes him. But she's not a witcher.
He cuts her thigh. The femoral artery, it's a fatal wound. And as she lies there bleeding out, she curls up and says, "I'm cold."
It's so small. So human. After all that violence.
And then the real monster arrives. Striga comes out of his tower now that it's safe. He sees the body and says, "Great job. Fetch a cart. I want to take her for an autopsy."
That is the moment I wanted to reach into the book and strangle him. He just wants to prove his racist theory.
Geralt threatens to kill him if he touches her, but then the townsfolk come out.
They didn't know about the ultimatum. They didn't know they were about to become hostages.
No. All they saw was Geralt the mutant walk into their market on a sunny morning and brutally slaughter 7 people. They see a madman, a butcher.
So they start throwing stones.
And Geralt just stands there. He takes it until he casts the sign of Ken to shield himself, and he backs away. He saved their lives, and they hate him for it.
It destroys his philosophy of neutrality. He chose an evil-killing Renfrey to prevent a greater evil. And his reward is exile and a hateful nickname.
It suggests that sometimes there's no right choice. There is only the choice that lets you sleep at night. Or, in Geralt's case, the choice that keeps others alive, even if they hate you for it.
It's devastating. Okay, we need to lighten the mood slightly. Let's go to Sintra. A question of price.
This is a total change of scenery. No mud, no monster guts. We are in a castle at a high society banquet.
But the tension is just as high. Geralt is there in disguise. He's Lord Ravix of Forhorn. I love the coat of arms they gave him. A bear with a damsel sitting on it. It's so on the nose.
Queen Calanthe hired him. And Calanthe is one of the best characters in the series. She is the lioness of Sintra. She's sharp, she's funny, and she's terrifyingly manipulative.
She sits Geralt right next to her at the head table. And she spends half the dinner just roasting him. She asks him if he's there to fix the roof.
She's testing him. She wants to see if he has a spine. And Geralt passes. He verbally spars with her. He lists the monsters he fights, manticores, chimeras, establishing that he is a professional warrior, not a servant.
We also get some great side characters here. The Skelligers, iced Torsic, and Crate. They bring this loud, boisterous Viking energy.
And Baron Kudkudak, the guy who imitates animals. He mimics a sitting hen and a mud turtle. It provides this comic relief, but it highlights how absurd and performative all the court rituals are.
But beneath the jokes, Calanthe has a mission. She reveals she wants Geralt to remove a problem. She implies a monster is going to crash her daughter Pavetta's betrothal feast.
But Geralt is smart. He realizes she's using euphemisms. She's not talking about a dragon or a griffin. She's talking about an unwanted suitor, a person.
She wants an assassin.
She wants a hitman. And this is where the code comes in again. Geralt refuses. He says, "I've never killed people for money, and I never will."
It's a powerful stance. He is surrounded by guards, sitting next to a queen who cuts people's heads off for fun, and he just says, no.
It shows that Geralt respects the laws of his profession more than the laws of kings.
And more importantly, he respects the laws of destiny. Calanthe is trying to cheat destiny. She's trying to manipulate the succession of Sintra. Geralt senses that interfering here would be catastrophic.
This story sets up the law of surprise, which is crucial for the whole saga, but even just in the short story, it shows Geralt as a diplomat. He navigates a battlefield of words just as well as a battlefield of swords.
It proves he's not just a brute. He's an intellectual. He understands the weight of fate. Finally, we have to talk about the glue that holds all these stories together. The framing narrative, the voice of reason. This takes place at the Temple of Melitele.
Geralt is resting here, recovering from the neck wound the striga gave him. It's a place of sanctuary. It's safe.
And we meet Nediki. She is awesome. She's the high priestess. And she is basically the only person in the world who can boss Geralt around.
She's a mother figure. She scolds him for getting hurt. She forces him to take his healing potions. But she also offers a philosophical counterpoint to Geralt. She represents faith and nature. Geralt represents skepticism.
There is this quiet moment that I think is the most revealing in the book. Geralt is with Iola, a priestess who has taken a vow of silence.
She can't speak.
Since she can't talk, Geralt just monologues to her.
It's a confession. He opens up about his first monster.
And it wasn't a griffin or a basilisk. It wasn't anything supernatural.
No. He tells a story of leaving Kaer Morhen, the Witcher fortress, for the first time. He was young, idealistic. He saw a bald man and a group of bandits attacking a girl. The man was raping her.
And Geralt stepped in. He did the heroic thing. He killed the man.
And he expected gratitude, validation. Instead, the girl looked at him, covered in blood with his cat eyes, and she threw up. She fainted in terror.
It broke him a little, didn't it?
It shattered his illusion of being a knight. He realized that to the world, he is just another monster. One that kills other monsters, sure, but still something to be feared.
He tells Iola, I believe in the sword. He says he doesn't believe in gods or destiny, only in the weight of the steel in his hand, because it's tangible. It's something he can control.
Which is ironic, because as we've discussed, the sword rarely solves his real problems.
It almost never does. We also see the outside world encroaching on the temple. The Knights of the White Rose show up, Folwick and Taze.
They are the institutional power, and they are bigots. They hate witchers. They want to kick Geralt out of the temple because his presence desecrates it.
Taze, the young, arrogant knight, challenges Geralt to a duel. And Geralt's response is perfect. He says if they fight, he won't kill him. He says, I'll beat the snotty-nosed little brat's arse with the flat of my blade.
He treats him like a child, which is exactly what he is, but it's Neneki who saves the day. She uses her religious authority to banish them. It shows that Geralt isn't completely alone. He has allies who respect him.
So we've covered a lot. We've seen the biology of the potions, the tragedy of the striga Nevelin, the moral trap of Blaviken, and the politics of Sintra. What is the big picture here? What is the Witcher's code?
The big reveal in The Voice of Reason is that the code is a lie.
Wait, really? The thing he's been quoting the whole time, the code forbids it.
He admits it. There is no ancient book of Witcher laws. He made it up.
Why? Why would he do that?
It's a shield. It's an excuse. When a king orders him to assassinate a rival or a wizard tells him to kill a girl because of a prophecy, Geralt can say, sorry, I can't. It's against the code. It gives him an external authority to justify his own moral choices.
So the code is basically his way of saying no to powerful people without getting his head cut off.
Exactly. It's a survival mechanism. It allows him to maintain agency in a world that views him as a tool, a weapon to be pointed.
That makes him even more interesting. He's not following rules. He's making ethical decisions in real time and pretending they are ancient rules.
And that's the tragedy and the beauty of Geralt. He tries to be neutral. He tries to be a simple tradesman. But his conscience, his fundamental decency, won't let him. He constantly intervenes. He constantly chooses the lesser evil, even when he says he won't choose at all.
So here's the thought I want to leave everyone with. Geralt says he believes in the sword because it's real, it's tangible. But looking back at these stories, the sword didn't save Renfrey.
No.
The sword didn't break. Nivelun's cursed love did. The sword didn't solve the politics in Wyzim. It just made a bloody mess.
That is the central paradox. He is a master of violence in a world where violence rarely fixes the root of the problem. He cuts the heads off the weeds, but the roots, human greed, prejudice, hatred, remain untouched.
So if you were in his boots, standing in that market square in Blaviken, knowing that if you draw your sword, you will be hated forever, but if you don't, innocent people will die, would you have the guts to become the butcher?
That is a question I hope none of us ever have to answer.
Indeed. Thanks for taking this deep dive into the mud and blood of the Witcher's world with us. It's been a wild ride.
Stay safe on the path.
See you next time.